Hello there and welcome back to the Whiskey Friend with me, Alan. No, wait. Hi, it's Mark at Whiskey Resource here, back for review number 121. Continuing with the Speyside mini-series, the last review was the Glenlivet Caribbean Reserve, so you can go check that review out. Today, another Speyside whiskey. It's this little wee fella here, which is a sample from Asses and Malt. It's the Cardhu Gold Reserve. Oh, bless the little wee thing. So I'm going to pour my dram before I tell you a little bit about it. So I got this sample from Asses of Malt. I think it was part of a tasting pack. Can't remember now. But I'm going to cover it with this second New Dram Drinker challenge coin that Anthony and Nikki sent me. So we'll leave that over there, and we'll put that wee bottle back there, but you can't really see it. So Cardhu Gold Reserve. In my last video, I mentioned that there's certain words that whiskies have that you kind of need to be aware of, that kind of should set off alarm bells. So the previous one was the Glenlivet Caribbean Reserve. This one, Cardhu Gold Reserve. It generally gets assigned to the budget whiskies, and this would suggest that it's going to be something good, but invariably it's there to entice you to buy it because it's got the word reserve or deluxe or something similar. So just be mindful of that. So, Gold Reserve. It retails online from various online outlets. You can pick it up from, and I'm having problems with this mouse again. You know, it's just ridiculous. Ridiculous. Right, okay, so prices. You can pick it up from the Whisky Exchange for £37.95, Asses of Malt for £33.94. Currently on Amazon, it's 25 quid, and you can pick it up from Tesco's for £37.50. Now, those are the average price. Those are the prices that wake up an average price of £33.60. Guys, when you're shopping around for whiskey and you see something in the shop, grab your phone, do a Google search, see whether or not the price that the store has it is the cheapest you can get it for. Now, I mentioned the cheapest you can get it for is Amazon, 26 quid. That's at the time of recording. If you're on Morrison's, you'd be looking to pay 42 quid. And if you happen to be in Waitrose, you can pay as much as 45 quid, which means the difference between the highest price, 45, that I found it at, and the cheapest price, £26 at Morrison's, that's 19 quid. Away. You've got to price check. You got to price check. Because this whiskey, before I've even tasted it, is not worth 45 quid. In fact, if you look at the average price of £33.60, if you're paying more than £33.60, you're paying too much. Straight off. That's why I do average prices, because that tells you the difference between the highest and lowest. And the difference could be quite small, but the difference could be quite large. And in fact, factored in the Waitrose price of 45 quid compared to the Amazon price, you're gonna be crapping your pants really when you get home and discover that you paid too much money. It's bottled at 40% ABV. It is chill filtered. It is colour adjusted. It is a Diageo bottling. Now, on the subject of Diageo, if you go to their website, malts.com, they're currently doing 25% discount on a select range of whiskies, of which right now on the Diageo website itself, this is retailing for, bring the price back up, £30.99, and they are doing free delivery for £50 and more. So £30.99p. Their standard price is £37.99. This plus something else, and you can get free delivery. Or get yourself off to Amazon. And whilst we kind of would diss Amazon for some of the things that they may or may not do with regards to tax, they do provide decent prices, and I don't think the likes of Diageo are going to miss a couple of quid here and there. We don't know what the price is to wholesale, but if Amazon are selling for 26 quid, we can imagine that Waitrose are making a canny markup. Of course, the government get a good chunk of that back in tax. Okay, so a little bit more about this whiskey. There isn't an awful lot. Being Diageo bottling, they don't really tell you an awful lot about cask maturation and the types of flavours that you're really expecting. They just give you a very generic, like looking at Diageo's website, nose, toffee and apples. Palate, fairly dry, biscuity oak, cinnamon. I mean, and this is Diageo. They're trying to sell this to you, and that's all they can be bothered to say. It's not flannel. You can't argue about that. It's not flannel, but it doesn't really give you an awful lot to go on. It really doesn't. In terms of cask maturation, I'm going to assume by those flavours that they've mentioned there that it's going to be mainly ex-bourbon, but there could be some degree of sherry in there. I must admit I've struggled to actually find a specific stated source about this. They tend to just go on about how it compares to the 12-year-old rather than the whiskey in hand. Master of Malt just said that it's hand-picked toasted oak casks, but not what the previous contents were, so I would assume a toasted oak cask would just have been a ex-bourbon cask, an American white oak ex-bourbon. Masters of Malt, what do they say about the cask types? Toasted oak casks, nothing more. So it's a bit of a study that you need to do to find these things out. Never mind. I think we should just get on to what this actually noses and tastes like. So back in the shot, here's my new Dram Dram coin. Off it goes. And on the nose, what we're looking at. Well, this is the Glenlivet nose, but much more subdued. It's not got any of the expressive tropicalness that you were getting, but you are getting apple, sweetness, maybe some toffee. It's apple and toffee, and I can see why the malt's website didn't really say much, because I wouldn't even say it's aromatic. It's not delicate really on the nose. It's just, even delicate noses like a Glencadam 10 is still quite expressive. This is just, it's just a nice sweet toffee and apple. It's toffee apple basically. Not much more to say about it than that. I can't even say that there's getting spice. I'm not even aware of any alcohol in there. I mean, I put my nose right in and I'm not getting anything in terms of alcohol off that on the palate. Okay, so it's the same story. Apple, a bit of pear, toffee, caramel, a bit of oak, a bit of spice. The texture starts as if it's going to be an oily experience through, but as soon as your tongue's coated, it gives way to more of a water texture. There's lingering oil, but not massively. The finish, very much like Glenlivet, it's just a bitter finish. Maybe a touch remnants of toffee apple. Probably has a slightly better finish than the Glenlivet that I reviewed last time. It's not as sweet as the Glenlivet, but it's a very similar flavour profile. There's none of that tropical notes to it though. It is rather delicate really in the flavour. It's not jumping out the glass at you, it's not giving you bold flavours, and I can't see how adding any water to it would help. There is a little bit of alcohol present. It's not as good, I don't think, as the Glenlivet Caribbean Reserve. It's more restrained, so if you don't like those more sweet aggressive sweet flavours that the Caribbean Reserve had, then this is probably more your thing. But with a value score, which I didn't mention, of 78.60, so the Caribbean Reserve has 78.66. It's slightly less value than the Caribbean Reserve, but that's because of the average pricings. This is pretty much the same kind of price as the Glenlivet was. Would I buy a bottle? No, I wouldn't buy a bottle. Would I recommend it as a beginner, a gateway whiskey? No, I wouldn't. For your money, buy the Glenfiddich 12-year-old over this any day of the week. I mean, even at the Glenfiddich's regular £35, you typically pick it up for 25, but £35 is kind of its staple price that would be sitting at when they're not doing discounts. Even at £9 more expensive than you could pick this up for, the Glenlivet is a superior whiskey to this. Of course, that's a non-age statement. The Glenlivet is a 12-year-old. It's not terrible. It's not a whiskey that you'd ever think about throwing down the sink, and you never throw a whiskey down the sink, ever. Send it to me. It's not terrible, but it's not worthy of buying. In terms of realistic price, I'd say you're probably looking close at 20 quid. I think there's the Winter Gold, I think it's called, that they do, that typically is similar, but I think it's designed maybe chilled. This, they talk about maybe putting in with ice. It's not a terrible whiskey. It's not memorable. It's not really an introduction to whiskey. It's just forgettable, but it's not terrible. So I've got an idea as a score. If you want to find out what the score is, go ahead and check my website, and you can read the review without listening to my ramblings. But since you've in 12.5 minutes, then it's too late. Yeah. Subscribe if you want. Yes.